So we're going to begin today really talking about the process, and once you understand the process and really once you understand kind of the four barriers that I want to talk about today, then you're going to know how to change it, how to fix it. Have you ever gotten kind of in that no man's land of like you're talking to a client and then it sort of just kind of stops off and you don't get the client and you're like, what happened? Well, here's the deal. Is that you usually have four barriers that you really have to overcome with every client. It's a no trust. Maybe they just don't trust you. And here's the thing is that business is just people doing transactions. And the greater the trust, the greater the speed of business. And so how do you build this high trust with clients? Because you can only help people to the degree that you can get them to trust you. Now, the great thing about it is that trust is not just character-based. There are also some skills to trust, and we're going to get into that later on today. But another barrier is maybe no need. Somehow they don't perceive that they even have a need. And maybe you have kids. For my kids, I've realized that I can't tell my kids what to do. And it's just like with your clients. Just because you tell your clients what to do doesn't mean they're going to do it. It's like my kids have to discover what they need to do. I tell my kids, but it's until they discover. And all of a sudden they come to me and they say, Dad, you know what I discovered? And sometimes I feel like saying, hey, I have been telling you that for the last 5 years. But they discovered it and it becomes theirs. And so it's the same with your clients. So we'll talk to you about how to overcome that no need. See, because that's a barrier. Or maybe it's no help. They really don't see how your solution is really going to help them. And once again, it's a self-discovery process. It's not just you telling them. And I'm just going to encourage you, we're going to go through some questions. What questions do you need to ask your clients? Because he who asks the questions controls the conversation. Here's the neat thing, is that you can be totally in control of conversations with clients and you don't even have to do all the talking. Sometimes we think, well, if I'm really going to help people, I got to be the one that talks all the time. I got to keep talking. Absolutely not. You've just got to be the guy that asks the best questions. You've just got to be the lady that asks the right questions. And we're going to go through today, as we continue on through this training, about some of the great questions. And after the sale, maybe another question is the barrier of no satisfaction. And this is where, how do you provide this value-added support and sort of enhance the relationship? And how do we take clients from satisfied to loyal? Because people only stay with us when they're loyal. If I'm satisfied, I'm going to shop other places. I'm going to use other services. I'm going to use other providers. But if I'm loyal, boy, I'm going to stay with you. And for people to understand loyalty and to build loyalty, it's like people connect to our why before they ever connect to our what. Why do you do what you do? And being able to share that why. Because people connect to the why before they ever connect to the what. And so how do you share that why? How do you communicate that why? How do you communicate your passions and your goals to clients so that they connect with you? There are certain providers that I use. I have a merchant services company that I use, and the reason that I use them really, truly is I like them. People do business with people that they like. But honestly, he's a big soccer fan. I'm a big soccer fan. Every time I talk to him, we're talking about soccer. And I'm not telling you to be disingenuous, but it's to find these things that enhance the relationship. And there are a couple core things that you can use, a couple core questions that we're going to get into later on today that you can really enhance the relationship, because the deeper the relationship, the deeper the revenue. So as you're working with clients, you're going to face the barrier of no trust, maybe no need, maybe no help, or maybe no satisfaction. And it's first, we've got to understand, how do we discover which area they're in? And then how do we bridge the gap and communicate to them in a way that they understand? And not just tell them. Because for most of us, and I know for me, it's like working with people is just like having kids. My kids don't do what I tell them to do. They usually only do what they discover for themselves. And so how do you create this environment of self-discovery?